Welcome back to Life's Challenge. My name is Avital, and this week we have another double Parsha of Behar and Bechukotai. And Behar-Bechukotai are really cool Parshas because they focus on two things that we don't get to see a lot of in the Parshas. They focus on the sabbatical year and the Jubilee year. And so I'm going to explain what those things are. So the Torah describes the sabbatical year as the following. When you come to the land that I give you, the land shall observe a Sabbath, rest for Hashem. So the land being Israel. For 6 years you may sow your field, and for 6 years you may prune your vineyard, and you may gather in its crop. But the 7th year shall be a year of complete rest for the land. A Sabbath for Hashem. Your field you shall not sow, and your vineyard you shall not prune. The aftergrowth of your harvest you shall not reap, and the grapes you had set aside for yourself you shall not pick. It shall be a year of rest for the land. The Sabbath produce of the land shall be yours to eat. So, very interesting. The land of Israel, when it is the sabbatical year, basically after 6 years of working the land, the 7th year the land has to take a Shabbat. Think about the same ways that the world was created in 6 days and God rested on the 7th. We have 6 days of our week, and the 7th day it's Shabbat. It's the same concept, but this is for the land. So the land has to rest in the 7th year. You can't work the land. You can't do anything to the land. It has to just sit at rest, but you can eat the crop. You can eat the crop. And the Torah continues to explain what the Jubilee year is. It says basically that there are 7 cycles of this sabbatical year. And after 7 cycles, so after 49 years, that year would be the sabbatical year, and the next year is the Jubilee year. The 50th year is the Jubilee year. And in the Jubilee year, a number of things happen. A, it's an additional sort of sabbatical year. You also have to rest the land. But additionally, 2 interesting things happen. So people who would have been slaves would be set free, and the land of Israel was divided initially by tribe. And the land has to revert to its ancestral heritage in the 50th year. So if you sort of leased out the land to another tribe or another individual, that land has to go back to its original tribal sort of distinctions in the 50th year. And so that is the Jubilee year. And both of those things are sort of covered in the Parsha of Behar. Bechukotai, it is very interesting because it begins by telling us some of the good things that we can expect to come our way if we observe the laws of the Jubilee year and of the sabbatical year. As an example, it says that there will be sort of peace in the land, that our armies will be victorious over other armies, that there's going to be an abundance of produce, that there's just going to be this sort of plethora of things, that we're going to be very comfortable, that our lives are going to be good. And then it says that if we don't listen, that the Torah goes through 5 different levels of increasing severity of the punishments that will fall upon the Jewish people, ultimately leading to very terrible things, but it includes exile. And at the very end of all of that, the Torah says, then the land will be appeased for its sabbaticals during all the years of its desolation. While you are in the land of your foes, then the land will rest, and it will appease for its sabbaticals. All the years of desolation will it rest, whatever it did not rest during your sabbaticals when you dwelled upon her. So it basically says, okay, you didn't rest the land. You didn't rest the land like I told you to. So all of these bad things, there's going to be these warning things, and if you still don't listen, and you still don't listen, and you still don't listen, you're going to get exiled from the land. And then the land is going to take the rest that it needs. The land is going to rest. And it's going to rest because you're not going to be there, and it's going to get this sort of, again, appeasement for all this time that you didn't allow it to rest. So that's very interesting, that God is basically saying the land is going to rest one way or another. It just, if you choose to honor it, good things will come your way. And if you choose not to, bad things will come your way. And I thought that was a very interesting lesson that we could take into our own lives, that the importance and the value that we have to rest our bodies, we have to rest our minds, otherwise those things will force us to rest in a way that we don't want. And I think about it this way, I've had multiple times in my body sort of a repetitive stress injury in my arm from overuse. And I think about it this way, right? I know I should rest my arm. I know I should do a better job at taking care of it, of not overworking it. But I like my job. I love working, and it's very it's a very arm-based job. And so I continue to do my job, and I don't always maintain it the best way I should. And then it starts to give you warning signs. It starts to hurt, it starts to be sore, and then you sort of can feel the pain going down your arm and then into your wrist, and you're like, this isn't good. And eventually it comes to the point where it forces you to pause, and it forces you to say, okay, I haven't done what I was supposed to. I haven't rested. I haven't exercised it the way I was supposed to. I haven't done all of those things. And now my body is sort of suffering because of it. Now my body is saying, I'm going to force you to rest because you're going to have sort of too much pain in your body, or I'm going to show up in the form of an injury that forces you to rest when you should have taken little rests all along. That's just a personal example, but I think you can get the point of whether it's from burnout or whether it's from, again, a physical injury or whatever it happens to be, our bodies are not, we're not superheroes. Our bodies are not able to take hits over and over and over again, and neither can our minds. We have to allow ourselves to build in those breaks, those sort of sabbatical jubilee type of breaks for ourselves, so that we don't reach the point where we're getting sign after sign, those sort of 5 levels of signs that the Jewish people got, that it was time for them to rest the land, and they're starting to see the negative ramifications of not resting. It gets to the point where it's so stark and in their face that they don't have any choice. The land will rest. And again, it's the same with our bodies. We need to build in breaks. Shabbat is a beautiful day. It's a beautiful break. When we take Shabbat, it's a beautiful day to rest our bodies, to rest our minds, to rest from all of the stresses of the week. Shabbat is a really great thing that happens. Again, there's 6 days of work, and the 7th day we rest. It's the same sort of cyclical pattern of 7 that we see here with the sabbatical year and with the Jubilee year. And so I think that the Torah is teaching us through this sabbatical year, we can gain the appreciation for planned rest, so that we will be able to continue going for longer. Because if not, again, we reach that point of burning out where we don't have any choice but to rest. So better to sort of try to avoid the problem to begin with by taking frequent breaks. So I think that's a very powerful and important lesson we can learn from Behar and Bechukotai. And I wish you all a wonderful week and a Shabbat Shalom. And I look forward to speaking with you next time.